Hey, what up? He's back. I went and ran another ice build, ice mage. So last time I tried to do just a one button build, but I decided to have another crack and do it the way that GGG wants you to play, which is just combos. So one thing about the frost darts I seem to ignore when I did my first ice mage playthrough was you can't build up. Like, the whole idea behind it is you can't build freeze or inflict chill, so you have to combo that with, you know, your frost bomb or your ice nova, and then so when you have a chilled or frozen target, you do more damage. You do these extra layers of damage, so you end up getting a fair amount of damage. So with that in mind, I went and tried to do a crit build. This is just to boost my spell damage and get cast speed. So I was trying to go for high cast speed and crit. So we've got projectiles, elemental focus. I was running this for the longest time, and now that I've taken it off to get more spirit and crit, I'm starting to run into mana problems, but I'll probably sort that out in a different way. My wand is pretty shoddy. I have not upgraded it since I got to Act 4, or even before that. Same with my gear. I think that was sort of updated most recently, but everything else I put that on pretty early. Can't remember when exactly I put that on, but when I saw that, I was like, alright, we'll go for crits. Crit and cast speed. So you can see I've got cast on crit. I can't seem to end like Frostbolt. That could be switched to something else. I'm not quite sure about that one. I was trying to use this, but it just doesn't seem to go properly. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's really weird. I think it's like broken, but maybe I'm just doing it wrong. But it seems to build up but not come out. But overall, it was like a way easier, and you actually have damage. So I melted most of the bosses with not even a very well geared character. Just with the ice comboing, I was able to smash through it. So in comparison to my league start ice build, I had a way easier time getting through the first 3 acts, and because I've done Act 4 a couple times now, it wasn't that hard. It didn't feel like it took very long. The first time I tried Act 4, my league start, Act 4 felt longer than the other 3 acts combined almost. Or maybe just that and the interludes felt really long. But now that I've played it a couple times, it didn't feel that long. And especially now that I have an ice build that does damage, opposed to the last one. Just trying to do the one button builds wasn't ideal. And I went into a fair few of these boss fights with unideal resistances, but because I had good damage, it didn't really matter. It didn't set me back too much. I basically had very negligible chaos resistance for the whole campaign and even into maps, and I didn't even go into chaos inoculation yet. I just tried to stack up as much energy shield as possible, and I could have had more energy shield towards the end, but I just couldn't be bothered to get a new chest piece just yet, so I just let that ride out. That was more or less fine. Even when I had like negative cold res, as in this fight, I was able to beat the water mermaid thing. You can just like persevere. And even in this, the final fight of Act 4, my chaos is very low. And this guy does a lot of bleed. He can like almost... He could probably one-shot me. With his big attack, maybe. Or maybe I've got a little bit more hit point pull than I realized. But you can see I just yeet him. Like, you've got the stacks of critical weakness. So, later, when I lean even further with the cast on crit, you can see I just keep... hang on, what I was talking about. Later, I was using the cast on crit in tandem with all my other crit stacking, like critical weakness is what I meant. But this fight with the dual blood mages, which was probably the one that gave me the most trouble on the league start. I even started like bleed resistance or something in the tree, I think, and I went stacked as much. I think I stacked as much chaos res, and I even changed my charms out. For this playthrough, I didn't even really pay much attention to my charms at all, just because the build was that effective, where you just you stun them, try to keep them iced as long as possible, and then you just pelt them with darts until they die, ideally. And like, I've barely even touched my health potion in this fight, and on my league start I remember like going out of my way to get a health potion because I couldn't get through the fight. But you know, it just goes to show that if you actually play the intended build instead of trying to do a one button build, you actually become a bit more effective in your damage output. But I still want to do a one button build, but I haven't quite figured out how to make that work with the Ice Mage in particular. But you know, there you have it.